And welcome to the Diablo Podcast, your home for Diablo diehards, tryhards, casual, and hardcore alike. I am your host, Xanth, and I'm joined today by my lovely co-host, Nineball,
Oh, hi.
and noted streamer, noted whale, noted crow eater, and notably present, Nerdwords.
Hello.
And we are, of course, brought to you by PureDiablo.com, your home for an ever growing community and expansive wiki, and of course, this podcast. And as we are recording, it is January 21st, Leviathan. It is the 2 days before we are getting season 3 of Diablo. And Pure Diablo should be your home for season 3 news and events. The team behind the scenes is vigorously updating, I'm sure, as they're trying to also edit this podcast to get you the latest news, builds, guides, and everything related to season 3. So once you are done listening, take a trip on over and help enhance your season 3 experience. I didn't write that down. I thought that was a pretty good, I think. You're welcome, Rush. Um,
Definitely thank you,
I,
Rush.
yeah, thank you for everything you do, but also that was pretty good on my part. Um, so we are 2 days away from season 3, the season of the construct, and I think it's important to let Nineball get his victory lap in. So
You did it. You did it, buddy.
yeah, last
Yay!
podcast we speculated a little bit on what was going to happen, um, and you were fucking right. So take your moment.
Yeah. It's funny because what was it? I don't remember who I was talking with, but I talked with somebody at BlizzCon when they went through and showed it, and it's like, man, that looks like one of those Zoltan cool shadow portals in the background. And then it was just kind of like came to me, it's like, no one's talking about, like, we've had this teaser image since November, and like no one's talked about it or anything. Like no one's trying to take guesses as to what like the seasonal theme is going to be or anything like that. So sure, why not? I'll take a shot. I'll do this. And hey, for me, the biggest thing actually is just the fact that it was in fact a teaser image. Like they put information in there in that little uh, header or whatever that you can figure it out. So obviously they've done that before, but like we had no idea what malignants were, or what that heart meant until we had the season itself. The vampire one was a little bit easier to guess. Vampires are vampires, but this one was actually just
Sure.
cool because it's like something that's already existed in the lore, and you could figure it out if you knew what to look for. So yeah, I'm happy.
Well, you could figure it out. None of us did. So
Nine ball and his big brains.
I know. As a result, Blizzard has announced that they are not going to be releasing any images until the week before. Um, so look what you did. No, that's not going to happen. Well, I don't know. Maybe it will. But you did call it, and after I, I I've talked about it before. I really like that Blizzard waits until about a week out to give us this information on the new season. I understand it's really hard to wait, but like I was much more content to enjoy season 2 up until the announcement. And then once I know what I'm getting myself into, it becomes an easy break point. Like I'm going to take a week off. I've been playing D2R lately. Um, and then I can just kind of draw in as much information as we possibly can. So we get our announcement on Tuesday, we get the campfire chat on Friday, we get or on Thursday, and then we get the patch notes on Friday. So last week was just eating up a lot of Diablo information, and that's kind of what we want to talk about today. Tuesday was relatively light, right? We just got the season name. Nemo got to take his victory lap.
Woo.
Um, and then we actually got into the meat of it. We got to kind of suss out these details about our connection to Zoltan Cool, about our Seneschal companion, and shout out to Jen over at Windows Central who called it the Sensual companion. Because from here on out, that's what it's going to be. Season 3 is the season of the sensual companion, and I
Exactly. Yep.
can't I'm not going to dip into that French and say Seneschal. It is a sensual companion, and this might this might sell it for you. In other words, you can pet it. You can pet the companion. So I know when they announced that you were very excited. Um,
Yeah,
so
totally.
let's just go into initial reactions
I,
first.
I have one
I'll
question
choose some.
before that for you, Xanth.
Yeah,
So, for your sensual companion, is this going to be the season where you start with a neck romancer?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
hate that I didn't think of that. I love that so much.
You're welcome. You can keep that one
Yeah,
too.
that was good. Yeah, yeah. I don't hate it.
That's
I
tough.
don't hate it. Okay, so initial reactions upon seeing the season, and we can start to dig into the actual bits and pieces. Um, what were your thoughts as you found out about vaults, about um, sensual companions?
But I was really excited. Yeah, no, and I saw that same tweet from Jen, and now it's the same thing for me too. Like, there's no way. It's just the essential companion forever now. No, I was like an original trailer was really cool. I thought it looked good, but it was like when they posted like the deep dive, like, videos like 7 minutes long or whatever, that went into some of the systems a bit more. Then I started to get, okay, this is a little more than it even looked like in the trailer. And then when they did the whole live stream, like, wow, like there's a lot to unpack there. Um, I'm very excited. And so, like, to kind of come back to your first point, I'm actually disappointed they waited this long to tell me, because this is a season that I would have like requested off work from. But at the last couple seasons, while they were good, like, season 2 is good, it wasn't worth like really like taking PTO, and really like dedicating like a week of my life, like, okay, I'm gonna really grind this like I've done in the past. This one feels like it might be. I'm definitely hyped enough for it too, but now I'm stuck and I have to work because I didn't get an early enough notice to take off. So that's probably on me more than anything. But very, very excited right off the bat, and obviously anything with Zoltan Cool, and I mean the mages. I'm gonna be excited, right? So there's gonna be some lore tidbits in there that I'm really excited to unpack as well too. But really, really, really excited.
Yeah, everything that I've seen so far, I haven't like deep dive into like the nitty gritty, like in the patch notes for like what all of the stones do, the upgrades and such, how you can actually like tune your companion. But it seems as if it scales like 1 to 1, so it's actually going to be like as powerful as you are, and it has like a lot of like really cool, almost like Diablo 3-esque like runes that you can do with like multi-shot and stuff like that look interesting, with how it could potentially like affect like your abilities. But yeah, it I really like the concept behind like the vaults. Like, they're doing something different. Like, you actually uh have like a whole new gameplay mode. It's not just what was one of the jokes? It's like the next season is just going to be, orange Helltide zones. That this one is actually giving you a different type of dungeon, and that you can still just, if you want to, you know, just force your way through the whole dungeon, ignore the mechanics and such, kill everything. But you're better rewarded if you actually take your time to avoid the traps, and actually, interplay with the mechanics and such. So, looks pretty cool. And Seneschal is yet another word that I learned in Warhammer before Diablo. So I look forward to what other old school army term that they're going to go through and pull in for the next season.
It's entirely possible that you should just start looking through all of them, find the another obscure French word, and then it'll be it. Um, so we've talked just briefly. There are a lot of moving pieces, moving pieces in this new season, but the biggest is this companion. So let's start there. The thing that really struck me with this companion is the complexity of the system that is there. That you are going to have the option to choose how you want your minion to operate, and then being able to augment the skills that you have equipped to it in various ways. Um, and I said it pre-show, and I'm gonna say it here. This is what I want Paragon to be. I don't the more I've been playing, the less I have liked the Paragon system. Um, it just the disconnect between 1 to 50 and the skill tree, and then immediately I have to shift to this new board. It feels so off of what my skills are and the choices I made early on. Whereas what I'm seeing on my sensual companion is the ability to take what I could have had in 1 to 50 and start to alter and change it in a way that would be really cool from the build that I've already chosen. It doesn't mean that the Paragon system doesn't have some choices, and obviously I'm choosing boards and what have you, but it doesn't feel as much as what I was seeing on the Sensual Companion. And we're going to say that a lot. So already in this episode, I am so sorry how many times we're going to say Seneschal and sensual. And if that is a triggering word for you, you may as well tune out. Uh, but with your sensual companion, that ability to augment those skills in those kind of cool ways and then level up the gems that are doing it is really exciting to me. And it made me think of like how great would that be to go into the actual skill tree and be able to do that with, you know, thinking of a druid like a tornado. Now there already is a way on the tree to add an extra tornado some of the time, but wouldn't that be better suited by something like this that I'm actually making active choice, I'm leveling it, I'm making it happen? That would feel more like a skill tree and skill choices as opposed to the current system that we do have. Now, that is a bit of a tangent from the actual companion itself, but it was something that's been a little, somewhat ruminating in my brain, and I've had no other place to express it. Um, so, am I right?
Yes, I also said this a year ago. Because that's exactly what
I,
I said, right? The
as
Paragon system.
as soon as Zant said it, I saw your smile. Like,
Because like literally, it's just full circle for me. It's exactly what I said when even before I got my hands on the game. Just looking at it was like, okay, we have all these elaborate boards, but like at the end of the day, like it's the same exact thing as what the Paragon system was in Diablo 3. There's more variety of stats you can choose, but essentially, like you've got so many points and you've got so many stats, and you've got to find the optimal path, right? So you're either copying and pasting a guide from somebody and you're not even looking at it, or you are looking at it and it's just like overcomplicated for no reason. It's not that it's bad, because there's some cool stuff in the Paragon boards, and I don't dislike the progression, but you're right. Like having 225 points to go all the way up the board, so you got to okay, wait, I need exactly 34 more points to get this node the right way, the way that I want to go. So I need, it's just like it's just so complicated, but not complex, right? It's complicated, it's not complex. It's frustrating. But no, I agree. I mean, I agree with you, and the companion looks really cool because I mean I think that's the real question here isn't like how bad the Paragon system is. It's how cool this looks in comparison to what we've had. And it looks really cool. Like obviously we don't have our hands on it yet. We haven't played with it yet. I'm excited for how I'll feel a week from now. 5-6 days into the season, how am I going to feel about it? But I'm definitely really excited to get my hands on it for sure. And again, the idea of like the constructs of these mages is really exciting for me as someone who's played sorcerer and sorceress and wizard right forever. That like there's a little bit to that there that I'm really excited about. And Zoltan Cool is just a cool mob. Huh. Not intended, but there you go. There's that too. So
so there was actually a point during the very beginning of the developer stream where they're going through and they're talking about like the lore and the story, and
yeah,
they go and they start talking about the Vigerai, and like, oh, and the Vigerai made a whole bunch of like arcane constructs. I'm like, wait, no, you're not about to like have some sort of like massive retcon, because they keep talking about the Vigerai more and more, and then they
yeah,
start talking about Zoltan Cool, and I'm like, please do not say what I think you're about to say. And then they're like, but Zoltan Cool wasn't a Vigerai, he was Iniad. And like, oh,
yeah,
thank God,
yeah,
okay,
right, yeah.
disaster averted. It's like, oh, I had legitimate concerns there at the very beginning of the stream. That it's like, are
Right.
they gonna start like doing some massive retcons? But then they no, then they hit that 90-degree turn and be like, oh yeah, just joking. Yeah, gotta
Yeah.
admit, had me at the first half.
Well, and
So,
I think that's the thing too, is that like, very similar to being a Warcraft 1, 2, and 3 fan prior to World of Warcraft. When you create a game like this, you create so much more content like this, you're gonna have the world get fleshed out, and some of that will come across as a retcon.
Yeah.
Maybe might be detail we didn't have before, or detail that's slightly been altered, but it's good. Yeah, he's already a part of the Heraldric Order. He doesn't need to also be a Viscera as well too, right? Like he's been involved with all of these pieces across the entire millennia of Sanctuary. I am excited though to see the structure. Like the new monster family is really cool. Like I like the robots. I'm really excited about those. Your companion looks cool, but like the idea of this maze that wants to kill you and like having this demon infesting the walls and like the traps and everything, I think that's really cool. I will tell you though, while I am excited for a different way to play the game and the vaults look really interesting, I constantly bitch and moan in other games about there being too many platforming elements. Like in the Star Wars Jedi series, I really liked the first one, Fallen Order. Or wait, yeah, Fallen Order.
Yeah.
I really liked Fallen Order, but there was so much Mario in it that it kind of like I did not like that as much. Like the platforming and the climbing and the going over here. It's the reason why I don't play as much Zelda anymore. Platforming has just like been a thing that I've not enjoyed as I've gotten older. But in this context, and it being Diablo and the WASD changes, like some of those things could make it for some really interesting like movement things in Diablo we've never really seen before. So I don't know. I'm curious to see how it plays out, but I am apprehensive about the platforming.
We'll come back to WASD or WASD in a second. Um, to add on to your point about like the traps. So in Path of Exile, there is a specific part of the game called the Labyrinth that you need to do in order to unlock your ascendancy, right? So you have to do it 3 to 4 times, depending on how many of the points you want to get. And when it first came out, brand new, it was exciting. It is very much more trap based, and that's what I kind of thought of when I saw this expansion or when I saw this league come out. The problem with that, and I think you kind of hit on it, Nerd Words, is the novelty wears off real quick. Where like, all right, I can dig by this trap. Um, in Path of Exile, it's far more deadly, though eventually you can trivialize it, like with any ARPG, eventually just scale out of it. But
Right.
the novelty of it wears off, and eventually, like, he was like, I'm just gonna have to deal with so many traps, and that's not as fun. So I do anticipate there being, a decent amount of complaining down the road as people are leveling up the third or fourth characters. Like, I don't want to deal with these traps anymore. But the fact that it's an option, that's the biggest part of the Path of Exile is it's required to get this part of your character. You don't have to do it here, which I think is a direction that Diablo's been doing a lot of great things with. Same thing with the campaign. The campaign's awesome, but hey, you don't have to play it anymore. You get through the prologue now. Just click skip. So I do like that is an option if people are just not feeling the slower pace of a trapped based dungeon.
Yeah, excited for the variety. Just don't know how I fit
Yeah.
into it right yet. That's it. That's it. It looks cool though. It does look really cool.
So I want to dovetail for a second onto WASD. So we are getting WSD movement. And my question for you guys is that something that you're going to use?
Yes, absolutely.
Probably not.
100%. It depends on how it interacts, but like if you think about micro movements and you think about like there are games that have a focus on movement, and there are games that have different movement options that come in that change how you play a game. Like for instance, as a sorceress who teleports a lot, what does adding a tap strafe like to A or D or W at the beginning or end of teleport do? Right? How does that interact? Right? Am I able to make like teleport micro movement and then teleport right in a different direction? Like how can I utilize that? It really depends on how it works, but I'm intrigued to at least try it for sure. Like I'm still gonna play the way I normally play, but there might be moments where like a micro, like, oh, I just need to creep up a little bit, like WWWS, right, and then teleport or something else. Like there could be uses for it. Again, akin to another game. I've mentioned it before on the podcast. I play a little bit of Apex Legends. It's the same thing, right? Like you use mouse and keyboard, but by having like crouch set to like different keybinds on your keyboard, you can kind of do different things in the game because of it, right? So we'll see how it plays out. I like the option. I think the option's cool.
Yeah, I mean that's how I like. I don't see myself using it, but hey, more accessibility options, the better, right?
Yeah.
I actually have fully transitioned to just using a controller. I have found my PlayStation controller to be just, it feels like the best version for Diablo, which I really did not think I was going to get to. Um, I was mouse and keyboard this whole way through this series, and like when I would play on PlayStation, like of course I have to use a controller. And then when I was doing the Necromancer in season 2, it just felt so much better on controller than when I was on the keyboard. So that's when I started plugging. So when I'm on my PC, I just plug in the controller and go with it. Uh, so like WASD doesn't affect me as much because it just feels so right. And that also feels so wrong.
Well, yeah, but you also, I mean, that kind of makes sense though, right? Because on a controller, you have direct control. Direct input equals result, right? Like on the isometric top-down like genre has died off over the years because it's just not as popular as, direct control you get from a controller. And even Diablo 3 and Diablo 4 saw that with the introduction of controller play, and a lot of people play with control. A lot of my friends do too, a lot of streamers do. Like and it's totally viable for sure. I still am an old head and mouse keyboard all day for Diablo, but again, the ability to put little taps into my movement might be useful. Like I can still click to move, but then use that for some more like intricate, things. So I don't know. I'm excited about it. I think it's cool. I don't think it's gonna hurt anything, right?
Yeah.
But like, what is a rogue that has dash and like multiple evades also able to do with like micro movements from like an evade standpoint, or these vaults, right? Like where you could like really move around stuff really accurately, and I think that's pretty cool.
I see it as a total win for everyone. Um, so good on Diablo for bringing that to the forefront. Let's go back to our sensual companions, guys. We can't just leave them by the wayside. Um, I think there is, for me, in looking at the season, I'm very excited to get that little guy going. Just getting my sensual companion.
You can't call him
Oh,
a
wow.
sensual companion, then also say you're excited to get him going. It's just
Yeah,
mixed messages, man.
yeah. I'm I'm aware on that one now. Um, Thanks, Jen. So the the lead up in season 2, you kind of just got to get going. You got your first blood power, and then you could unlock them pretty quick. Uh, Obviously, the best ones were way at the end, at the end of the quest line.
Hmm.
Metamorphosis, RIP. Also a sad thing
For
to
now,
not see.
for now,
Yeah.
Yeah.
till they add in a pair of
Uh,
unique boots later that do the same
Yeah.
thing.
I was just about to say a pair of unique boots of, vampiric
Mid-season,
swiftness.
confirmed.
Yeah.
right. Uh, I was a little sad to not hear Metamorphosis at least be like, hey, it's our permanent evade now, but whatever. That's a conversation when we
Just
get to patch notes.
just add
Um,
iframes. That's all it. That's really all it is.
yeah, yeah, that's it. But I am excited to get that get that guy off the ground and start building as I'm building my character. And looking at just the different combinations. Currently, my plan, like many others, is I'm going to start with a lightning druid. Typically, I end up starting lightning anyway with a druid. It just has a nice feel to it when I get a druid off the ground because it doesn't require as much. Um, and that new unique looks pretty nice. So
Does
that's
yeah.
my current plan. But then being able to combine that with the companion to also do additional lightning, or in the case of hardcore, to help provide barriers that are going to hinder incoming attacks. Like this just feels like a kind of new way to level characters that'll be exciting. And then knowing that I can change up that companion each time I do it to find a more optimized route. Because I probably will die, as is expected in hardcore, but like leveling it each time doesn't feel as, it may not be as laborious as what we saw with the vampire quest line and having to frequently get the blood. I'm sure there's going to be some points of friction, um, but it's new friction. So I am very much excited for them, and obviously seeing what that does for the gameplay, because those vampiric powers, when I first saw them, I was not blown away. Right? I was
Right.
not like, oh man, here we go. Everybody was way more excited for the Ubers, right? And for having a
Right.
clear of item farming, that the season itself was more tangential. I'm like, hey, you can go kill some vampires, but that's going to build you up to get to all the new stuff that we have entered. Um, I'm more excited now to get this companion going, and we know that there is some secret, super powered uh, companion. What do they call them? I'm going to call them gears that you could equip. That what there is one that we don't know, but we know
Like
there is one that does grant
tuning
+4
stones, and
bonus. Tuning stones. That's it.
there's
There is
two
one that grants.
types. Yeah.
There is one that grants +4 to all skills. So basically, a Shaco for your sensual companion. Um, I'm excited to kind of seek that out, and that there is that level of power that is attached to this.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different kinds of stones, and I've like Nine. I've gone through some of the patch notes, but they didn't have all these listed in the patch notes. I think the blog post has as much as we can see right now, but I know that there's a lot to unpack with those things and like how it evolves over time. Like, what is it like at lower levels? What is it like, mid game? What is it like very end game? What are you using it for? What do you want to use it for? Like, it seems like it's going to be able to add a lot of power both to your character and just in and of itself doing its own damage in CC. So yeah, I'm really excited to see how it plays out. That paired with like all the other elements coming this season and the just the meta shakeup and changes with the bug fixes that needed to happen and things like that.
Mhm.
I'm very, very, very excited. I'm honestly more excited for this season than I thought I was. But it's the season of the mages. I don't care about the season of the construct. It's season of the magics. I'm excited.
As a
Write that down,
necromancer,
Blizzard. Steal
I'm
that.
not quite as excited.
Sure,
Yeah.
it makes sense. That makes sense.
We
Yeah.
we will get to that. Um, so one thing I've noticed, and we talked about it last podcast, and just briefly, in the last few minutes, last season launched in two ways. We had the season mechanic, and then we got, hey, we are going to shift up where you find items. We're going to have loot tables, and everyone was excited for that. And I've already seen it start to happen that the big critique of this season is there wasn't that big shakeup. People were upset of like, oh, it's just a robot pet, nothing else has changed, so on and so forth. And then the criticism that I said was probably going to happen of like, hey, this is the same team that did season one. Um, so season three is not going to be good. I think that is an unjust comparison. This season does look much stronger than
Yeah.
what season two was bringing on
Yeah.
paper, right? Um, because I don't think that Uberdurio, Grigor, Beast and Mice, uh, Zir, right? Those were almost separate to the season, right? That was just everybody gets that.
Yeah.
The season is the vampires. This has got so much of it in the ways of the vaults, the construct, central companion, um, that it feels very big to me. And I can see where some people might be upset. We know that season four is going to bring an item rework, right? Which is always going to be a little bit more exciting.
Yeah.
But to me, I'm more excited for season three than I was season two.
Yeah, I would say so. Which is why I'm disappointed that I've not taken off work for it.
I haven't either, but I'm just going to play a boatload. I'll
I've
sacrifice sleep.
I took some time off, but for not Diablo related.
No. Well, you'll hopefully be able to find some time in there.
We'll see. It's gonna be rough being able to just have to sit on a couch for a couple days.
Yeah, somehow you'll figure out something
Whatever
to
will I
do.
do? Yeah.
I don't know, man. Um, but I do think it is an unfair criticism against the team because this does look like a pretty solid season. But if we're gonna talk criticism, the criticism I think stems more from what happened on Friday than Thursday. And from years of Path of Exile, this is something I notice pretty frequently, is the day of the announcement is hype, the day of the patch notes is dread, and then foreboding doom for the franchise, right? The patch notes, in looking them over, uh, there are prognostications about what's going to be best, and then of course what's going to be worst. And I just want to say, I don't have any fucking clue. And I don't think anybody else does.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's actually so there was one post I saw on Reddit that had put together like all of like the top like streamers and theory crafters, their thoughts as to what would be the most overpowered builds going into season 2. Now, to give them credit, the ball lightning sorcerer is based purely off of a bug. So that is unknown information that no one could have figured out. But no one guessed Hoda. No one guessed Barb. Like Barb wasn't even close to any of like the top builds, that was out there, and it ended up obviously like taking over. So it was very interesting seeing what a lot of people had assumed were going to be the top, and then what it actually ended up being there.
Right. And
Yeah.
that's like I've had the same, like I've had friends ask me that too, like, oh, what are you gonna play? Like, here's what everyone's saying, and I'm like, dude, I don't care what everyone's saying. Like, one, I always play sorcerer anyway, so it's
Yeah.
just gonna be, there's not really a lot of option for me. That's what I'm gonna play. But no one knows how these companions are gonna change the game, right?
Mhm.
Like going from season 1 to season 2, there were changes to the damage buckets, there were changes to the game on massive sweeping like levels in a lot of different regards. And then they added in all the vampiric powers and all that stuff too on top of it. And then they added in the boss ladder, right? And then the new legendaries. I mean, every season you could like throw in. It's like throwing a dart at a dartboard. Like, there's no way in hell that like most people are going to be able to accurately predict what's going to happen. I'm sure people out there will get it right, but like, because like one of my buddies said that Rogue is just doomed. It's just doomed. There's nothing being rated in S tier, and I'm like, dude, shut up. Like, give it a week. Like, in a week, someone's going to figure out the sauce. Like,
Yeah.
it's going to happen, right? And if it isn't, right, it's still going to be able to compete and do what it wants to do among other rogues anyway, which is the whole point of the class identity. I don't know. People are put way too much stock in like that shift because we don't know what it is yet, and I think that's exciting. Because like last season, I went in wanting to play something a little different on the Sork than what I had been playing the first few seasons because I leveled with Arclash, and then we went into the season and I leveled as Ice Shards, which I had fun with, and then like we kind of realized the mistake they had made with the ball lightning enchantment, and it was like, oh, wait a minute, and then it just, so I went back to playing that, but it was really strong. There's no way to know what else could break this season on top of it too, right? Like, we're talking
Yeah.
about what the patch notes look like. We could very reasonably see a bugged something else that pops up that, but I'm just really excited to see what it is. I think that everyone else is just trying to figure it out. But yeah, I'm not going to take or put too much stock in it until we actually get our hands on it.
Yeah, I'm not putting too much stock into what people are saying is going to be like actually like S tier or overpowered. I do unfortunately agree with a lot of the takes on the massive nerfs to Necromancer that
Yeah.
they're going through. That is just kind of like, now, I love shadow builds and stuff like that. Not necessarily like specifically like Infinimist, which a lot of this seems to be targeted towards. And there were some buffs to like try and go through and make like to try and make like shadow builds more like debuffy and push a little bit more towards like the double curse aspects. So they're trying to make that one work, so that way you like have, there's already an aspect out there that is like if you have both of your curses on a target, they take increased shadow damage, and now they're making Iron Maiden just deal shadow damage flatly instead of physical. And so there might be some play there and such, but just like the kill that, I mean, they didn't kill, but they heavily nerfed the desecrated corpse explosion. Not just the damage, but mostly the lucky hit chance that a lot of the shadow builds kind of like are breathing on. That's kind of like one of the lucky hit generations is like the big thing that pushes those builds forward. Um, so yeah, it's not looking good. But hey, they didn't touch Bone Spear, and they
Right.
buffed,
Again.
yeah, and they buffed Bone Spirit. So stocks and bone, gonna go play with my boner with my sensual companion on my necromancer.
Wow.
Love it. No, I think
This is
you.
what you've
I
made
think
me do,
you.
Xanth. This
Yeah.
is
I'm
this
sorry.
is what you've made me
It's
do.
You've made him a
it's
Taylor
Jen's
Swift song.
fault,
Yeah.
honestly.
Just
Um,
just to make it a pleasant experience for everybody, Tyrael's wings. There we go.
hey, it's been a while.
That way Rush can suffer with us.
Yeah, good for him. Uh, I think you do bring up a good point, uh, Baldo. In looking at the patch notes, one of the growing criticisms is the Necromancer class, right? And it's not unheard information. I think there's been general critiques of how Necromancers have been put into the game, um, kind of since release. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't follow Necros as much, but Macro, Michael Blabboy, did put out a pretty solid 40-minute video detailing the patch, what he saw, and what he was thinking. And obviously, he's got a great mathematical mind. He was able to kind of break down all the numbers in terms of how it might affect. And, he was able to, get me off the ledge about Infinimist and thinking, like, oh, no, it's still doable. It's still doable. But it's harder, right?
Yeah.
And the general criticism is that this was already the weakest class. If we use Avatar of Zir as the measuring stick for how a class can handle itself, Necromancer had done the worst out of all of it. In fact, I think the highest it had cleared was a tier 23. Um, and it could have been 22. So I might be misquoting there. But significantly lower than everybody else who had already done 25 and up. Now, granted, some of that was your Hoda Barbs, your Ball Lightning Sorks, your Shred Druids, right? Interactions that they've tried to scale back in this patch. But in scaling those back, they didn't bring the Necro up, it appears currently. And that's without seeing how the Sensual Companion might be able to elevate it. But the companion's going to bring up every class. And if the Necro is still already the lowest, every class goes up, but the Necro's still at the bottom. There was a genuine hope in the community that season 3 would bring perhaps a new look at companions for both the Druid and the Necromancer. Necromancer probably being the more important of the two.
Mm-hmm.
But I will point out the Druid has a whole wheel of companions. So maybe we deserve it too. But that did not come to fruition. We have a companion focused league season, um, but nothing has happened to the companions that any of the characters carry. And the devs know this. It has been brought up before.
They buffed the iron and blood golems.
That's true.
Yeah.
Those, yeah.
They buffed all the conjuration spells for sorcerer, which is not companions, but technically you're summoning an ice sword, a hydra, right, a lightning spear, and they move around for you. And yeah, no, it kind of checks out.
Yeah, so I can see where if you are a Necromancer main, this league may not be as exciting. Now, it's not to say that again, we're 2 days out. Prognostication around the doom and gloom of the class is ill-suited just due to the fact of how wrong we were about season 2. Right? Like Barbs are on life support in season 2. Wrong. That did
They're
not happen.
literally the best class in the game.
I
right,
and I still feel really good about my guessed last episode that barbs were going to come out on top.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, even with the changes to overpower and all this coming. Yep, I agree. I agree.
Yeah, take another victory lap, and I'll take the L on this one. I was hoping that there might be a nice necromancer swing. It does not look that way, but we have 3 months to find out. And who knows? I think coming back to what you had said before, in your words about like the comparison of not worrying as much about what other people think. There also isn't an abattoir of Zir
Right.
to like push a character well beyond its limits. So most characters, even with a less than stellar build, should still be able to hit the benchmarks that we would use as success. Getting into the upper level nightmare dungeons, perhaps even 100. Um, the vault and the new boss are not geared towards that upper echelon. And Duriel is very manageable by most builds anyway. So even with a reduction, like for the Necromancer, should still be able to kill Duriel, should still be able to do all the traditional farming that we would be expecting of a class. And is that not a measure of success?
I mean, I guess everyone has their own internalized like benchmark, right? I would say, but I mean, it could do 99.9% of the content. The only content it can't do is the content that most other classes also could not do. So, I mean, like you even said, ball lightning stork for 25 abattoir. Yeah, like 5 of them in the world, right? Like it wasn't like there was like hundreds of them, like there were hodabarbs. It was like tons of hodabarbs, and like there was a lot more than 5, but there was a very small amount of people able to do it. It was very tough. But I think that that's something that everyone should really like look forward to in this season. We're gonna have the gauntlet. We're gonna have those weekly leaderboards, and while however much stake you want to put in that, like from a competition level, there's going to be like tuning dials that are put in place because of those leaderboards, right? They're going to see, okay, Sork and Barb and Rogue are clearing 40 levels or 40 points higher or 200 points higher or whatever it is than Necromancer is, right? So obviously there's something we've got to do here. It's going to give them more data. It's going to give them more avenues to explore those things. And they have been consistently buffing companions for Necromancer. Now it's not enough, not nearly enough. But they've been tuning knobs every single patch. There's been a little bit here and there, right? But yeah, it's just not quite there yet. It's not quite there yet. But Adam mentioned it in the live stream as well too. Adam Jackson, he mentioned it as well too. They're continuing to look at it. They don't have anything they're ready to announce right now, but it seems like it's the loudest sect of the Diablo community right now is really clamoring for that. So I anticipate some big changes coming. We'll see how it plays out though, right? Because who knows? There might be a tuning stone on the companion that makes minions do 400% X damage. I don't know, right? Like we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. I doubt it, but there's probably some stuff in there that's going to help them be a little better. And they definitely got some buffs, so we'll see how it lines up.
Here's to hoping. So we commiserated a little bit with Necromancer. Let's shift to classes that might have a little bit more rosy outlook in season 3. For one, I don't think Druid is going to jump to being the creme de la creme, right? See, look, here I am, toss it up French. Um, I don't think they're going to be the best clubs because Lightning Storm's a weird skill to begin with. It's a
Clears
channeling skill,
fast
right?
though, but it
Right.
clears fast. Yeah.
And I think they will do just fine. I think we've already seen that Shred is going to not be the build du jour. God, I'm slipping into French. I can't help it.
You're
Like what's
such an
happening to
English
me, guys?
teacher.
Um, so it won't be the S tier build that it is now, and Avatar's not there, so it doesn't matter. But um, I I think Druid's going to stay steadily in the middle. And will be a perfectly fine and enjoyable class. The new unique is going to shift up Lightning Storm a little bit. Uh, and I'm personally just looking forward to it. What I did have my eye on, though, was Sorcerer. So Sorcerer, it looks like it's shaping up in a cool direction. And at first, when I saw the item with the meteor, I was like, okay, all right. Uh, but there's a lot of theories floating around right now on how this could just basically be turned into almost an Infinimist like
Yeah.
character with meteors raining down constantly. And that sounds pretty awesome. Uh, is that what you're gonna do, Nerdwords? Is that your source or is that your build take?
Um, I we'll see where the season takes me. Like I'd like you said you were gonna start as a lightning druid. I don't really go in with that mentality. I'm gonna play a Sork, and I'm gonna let the drops come, and whatever the drops come is what I'm gonna focus on, right? And then when I reach a point where I can pick what I want to, I'm definitely gonna try out that legendary or that unique. Because I mean, removing the mana cost from meteor and giving it a cooldown with the amount of cooldown that we can stack, even with the nerfs, it's still gonna be really cool and really impactful. And then you factor that in with the buffs to conjuration spells, like again, Hydra, Meteor, or sorry, Hydra, Lightning Spear, and Ice Blades. And then you factor in like some of our passives that boost overall damage for the amount of conjuration spells you have out. Like you could very easily pop Ice Blades and Hydras and all this stuff everywhere, and that's gonna make your meteors even stronger, right? And then you can run Inferno and you could channel. And now we're playing Diablo 3 again, right? We've already got a Taurasha ring instead of a set, right? Now we're playing Diablo 3. We're dropping meteors and we're channeling spells to make those meteors stronger. So I am a little hesitant to go back to playing the same thing that I'm literally playing in the Diablo 3 season right now. But meteors are really cool. I love blowing stuff up, and it's not ball lightning, right? And I've been playing ball lightning for a minute, so I've liked every iteration of a sorcerer I've played in Diablo 4 so far. Even when we got nerfed and gutted, even when we had a bugged ass ball lightning, I've had a lot of fun. I'm gonna find something that's really good and really fun, I'm sure. I hope it's Meteor, but you never know. I mean, Hydra might end up being the shit next season, so I always leave myself open to those things because I mean, with the companion and how your conjuration spells stack with attack speed, there's a lot of things that could change. Really just depends. But definitely going to cast meteors on someone at some point during the season, for sure.
I have a friend that normally goes through and starts the season like a week late, just because it's like he just wants to play whatever's pushed, like whatever the cracked
Yeah.
build is. He doesn't
Tell me what to play, team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he does not care about, like, he has no loyalty to any class spec or anything. But he was looking at the videos on the Meteor Sork and is like, I think I might play that. Like, yeah, so yeah, that definitely has a lot of people talking. That's for
Well,
sure.
it's a gorgeous spell. It's always looked cool.
Yeah.
And Blizzard has always fucked it up. They've always like had a really hard time with getting meteors to be good. In Diablo 3, they found out how to do it. Just make it to where you could just cast them all the time, constantly, and they do like 20,000 X damage, and then hey, we're good. I'm curious how it's going to play out in this game because for me, again, my favorite thing to do in Diablo 4 is PvP. Well, Meteor sounds great for dungeon content, but trying to hit a rolling around ass barb or rogue with a Meteor, nope, KMS. That's why like Hydra, Frozen Orb's really fun because those skill shots when they hit feel chocolatey. There's a lot of elements there, but like again, it depends on what your benchmark is. If your benchmark is doing the vaults, then I'm gonna run an Oculus and Flame Shield and teleport through every goddamn trap in the game with immunities and not drop my warding. Right, immediately what I thought of was like depends on how depends on how those vaults play out. If it's PvP, then I'm probably gonna play a Hydra build or an orb build of some kind. If it's pushing high content, if there's a reason to push that content, then maybe it'll be meteors. We'll see. I'm just really excited because at least for now, it seems like ball lightning's getting fixed to the point where it won't be dominant. It'll still be really good though. Still gonna be good.
In terms of a shakeup, the one that stood out to me was Rogue.
Yeah. It's about goddamn time. That's only been bugged since day one of the game being launched. But yeah.
So yeah, the big thing is that the interaction of twisting blades has been changed. Uh, Kind of the go-to skill for rogues since the beta, right?
Especially for leveling.
Um, and it seems like the devs are trying to push a little bit more on bows, on actually using the ranged part of the rogue class, which was always the thing that intrigued me most about it was using more bow skills, much like a rogue in D1, Demon Hunter in D3, Amazon in D2. Uh, Hearing that actually, like, it, it's got me thinking, like, I would maybe dip my toe. I didn't play really any rogue last season. Then I might, after the Druid, pick this up and see how it goes. I'm really interested to see what somebody like Woody does with it. Because if someone's gonna figure out the most
Push
overpowered
the
rogue build,
boundaries. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
it's going to be him. And I'm very excited to see where this goes and to see it break away from Twisting Blades because that playstyle just never intrigued me. I didn't want to do that, but again, like we are all kind of somewhat pseudo slaves to the meta. If it's the most effective for leveling or
Sure.
for whatever it is, I'm probably going to default to it. I'm intrigued to see how that class kind of shakes up and what it brings to season 3.
Yeah, when I played a rogue preseason and I leveled his penetrating shot, and it was admittedly like at level 40 or 50 or something like that, I switched to Twisting Blades because I got the legendary power and went, oh, holy shit. Like, so like that's the thing is like people are like doom and gloom about that being changed. It's really that, and then the bug with poison imbue is getting fixed too, which again was one-shotting Uber Lilith since the launch of the game and just got fixed now, right? Like it's been 9 months almost, or it will have been. So yeah, I don't know. But at the same time, like there's a lot of doom and gloom about the rogue and about those changes right now. But at the end of the day, we're still gonna watch Woody competing for the top spot on the hardcore ladder
Yep.
every fucking week on a goddamn rogue because something else is gonna be good, and there's a high skill cap in this game. Like your ability and your ability to read what's happening in front of you on the screen on Diablo and react to that means something in Diablo 4, which is really cool and really good. Might not be to the level any of us quite want it just yet, but it's very very good. So yeah, I don't think there's any doom and gloom that should be going out, even for Necro, right? Like there's definitely some changes that need to come and need to happen, but something's gonna shake loose. And Bone Spear is still one-shotting Uber Lilith, right?
Yeah,
So
it's like yeah,
really,
it's like
I'm
basically it's
excited
like
to see. I
yeah,
might actually play Bone Spirit because that looks like it could be getting some fun changes. Almost like that shotgun blast
yeah.
kind of play style. It seems pretty cool. I always
I'm
play Sork, but I'm gonna level something after, so we'll see.
yeah, I'm definitely interested in seeing like the changes that they made to Bone Spirit, and like it's like one of those ones that if like you go through and you test it out and it's like good, it's better than okay. It's just good, but it's not like
Yeah,
one shot Lilith type deal. Then you swap out two pieces and you play Bone Spear instead. Then you one shot Lilith
right,
and you're good.
right.
It's like one of those ones. It's a nice easy fallback. So I do appreciate that at least.
Yeah.
At least
But
like on
sometimes
the
you want to summon stuff and have them murder the screen, though. I get
yeah
that, right?
yeah.
For sure.
I I,
That
I
would be
wanna
fun.
I wanna be able to summon. It's funny because there are minion builds for necromancers that can also one shot Lilith.
Yeah. Yep.
But it's a lucky hit it's a lucky hit build.
Right.
That's it. You
Right.
don't feel as if you're actually like playing a minion build. It's just okay. I use something with a very high lucky hit chance. It procced, and
Yeah.
then now all the Ring of Mendelin procs go off, and I one shot Lilith. Yay! Doesn't feel
Woo!
doesn't feel like an actual minion build.
Well, and minions still get trucked, right? Like the higher the
Yeah.
content, like they still get trucked, and then that's a problem as well. They got to fix that. But
Yeah, except
I don't know.
in
Like I said,
except in apparently Abattoir of Zir. Some people were going through
yeah,
and doing tests, and it's like there was something about scaling in the Abattoir that the Necro minions became like unkillable. Whether
yeah.
that's a bug or something that they're
I mean,
testing, no
it's
idea.
assume it's a bug. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Were they scaling the
Yeah,
same
there's
rate that the monsters were? Um,
Right. But
that,
no, I
that
think that's
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 just
what's that's
that's
what's
just
exciting about
Diablo
this season,
2.
though.
Your
Yeah.
the
There you
skeletal
go.
minions scaled with your difficulty.
Yeah. There you go. But yeah, I think the thing I'm most excited about for Diablo in season 3 is just like right now I don't know what the landscape looks like in several different regards, right? Like what's the best companion builds and what variations are there to that? What's the best group builds? How's the group, because that's something we haven't talked about that's going to be huge, is that like Diablo 3 was Diablo 3, and then when Greater Rift became a thing, that's when like the 4-player group meta with ZDPS became a thing. no one was running ZDPS before leaderboards existed, right? But now if we've got 4-player leaderboards, okay, is there a form of that comes into this game, or how does that work, right? How is that going to work long term? So I'm really excited to see how that shakes out. And then, as always hoping for some sort of 2v2, 3v3 arena in Diablo. I would love very much.
Maybe one day.
Keep waiting.
Maybe one day.
So
well,
we'll
no,
skip over.
I don't have hope of that, because in the live stream they literally said that PvP objectives just aren't being done. So like even on the live stream, it was almost like they were like trying to walk back some PvP stuff. They didn't say that, but in my head, my internalized canon, I went, no, some of us love the PvP stuff. Please give me more of it. Just don't make it required, because people like to cry about it. So
It's one of those ones where it's actually kind of funny, because like if you literally just wait like not even 2 weeks into the season, besides the one like this season to get the Lilith's chosen or Hatred's chosen and having like the 10 kills
the
without
buff,
dying,
yeah.
um collecting the shards of Hatred
It's
is one of the
easy.
easiest objectives for
Right,
completing your
because
season.
no one's out there.
Yeah,
Right.
like there's literally
Right.
nobody. And when I went through and did it, there were other people out there, and literally we all just avoided one another because we all knew what we were doing.
Just
We were
one, yeah. Well, and as someone who likes to PvP,
Yeah.
like I can count, maybe 3 times all season I actually got Hatred's chosen because there just wasn't enough people. Because if you kill the same person over and over again, it doesn't stack. Like, so when you kill someone one time, you get a point for it, but you kill them again, you get half a point for it. You kill them again, you get like a third of a point for it. And after that, you don't even get anything. So like, if there's one dude running around out there, I've got like a point and a half for an hour, and I'm just like, this is so boring and pointless, and I don't know why I'm doing it anymore.
I was able to get all the shards of hatred on hardcore. I turned crossplay off.
Well, that's
I was
still
totally
a thing,
fine.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you can turn crossplay off, yeah. So that way,
Yeah.
And you can, especially if you're playing like on a console, then there's like a lot.
Wait, is crossplay re-enabled? Can you crossplay again? Because I was checking the other day and I still couldn't do it with my girlfriend. Then I must have something wrong in my settings. I must figure that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try clicking the crossplay button.
I did. It was grayed out. It wouldn't let me. I got to figure out why.
Try again. But you can't do it in game. You have to log to the home screen
Yeah.
and then
Oh,
go to
that's
settings.
probably why. Okay.
Yeah. Look at me with all my technical knowledge.
Look at that. Have you tried unplugging it, plugging it back in?
Okay, so let's skip Barbarian because they're going to be just fun.
Charge.
Charge.
Yeah.
Just charge.
Charge is gonna be busted as hell, and be fast as hell, and something again. They have so many goddamn item slots. They'll be fine. They're gonna figure it out. Like, it's gonna be fine.
If you're playing a barb, you're good. You're fine.
Yep.
It might be charge. It might be something else.
It might still be Hoda, right?
Yeah.
Like,
It might,
it might still be Hoda.
Yeah.
Who knows?
It might still be Hoda.
We'll see.
Just scream, click a button, and then watch the screen die. It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Bring back the sing bar from D2.
Yeah.
You're gonna be okay. Let's end with leaderboards because we've danced around them. What are your thoughts on it not starting with a leaderboard? I get the justification behind the devs saying like we want people to go in and experience the season, and then we'll drop them later on. But like part of the fun of starting a new season is a little bit of that
Rushing those
race, right?
leaderboards. Yeah.
So in the past couple seasons, the folks over at Diablo Builds have done a race to world first, right? And there's some exciting parts of watching people hit level 100 in such a short amount of time, and I guarantee it would be even faster this go. To not have that, like when it's going to be built in to have a leaderboard, just seems weird to me.
Well, especially because you'd think it wouldn't take. I mean, look, again, I'm not a developer, but you would think it wouldn't take much to put in the game. Like, even if it's not something they want to do long term for whatever reason, like adding like just a first to 100, top 1,000, hit 100, and that's it leaderboard it feels like it should be easy. I mean, again, I don't know that it is, but you would think it would be if D4 builds can do it, right? Like if other sites can do it, You would think that Blizzard should be able to do it relatively easily. And then they could still do the gauntlet and the other stuff with that too. So you have multiple different kinds of leaderboards. I also loved like in Diablo 3 the feats for like the first to do speed demon and like things like that too. Like that's really cool. But so I think that like it'll evolve. I'm okay with it dropping mid-season though in this regard because it's something you're gonna take your built up character and go into this gauntlet, which sounds really cool on paper. I want to see how it plays out, but like the gauntlet seems like it's like the idea that you don't know what you're going to see when you go in there and you don't know, all of that seems really interesting. Obviously, you're going to learn it as you go. It's almost kind of like a roguelike, right? You do it. Okay, I got this many points. Now I'm going to go back and try to. I'm excited about that, but it's weekly, which is what I'm worried about because I feel like because there's one every week and it changes every week. That sense of like, okay, well this one sucks this week, so I'm just gonna wait until next week, and then now that one sucks, and now there's 2 weeks where I don't care and I'm not playing. We'll see though. I don't know, right? That's just speculation. I would like to see a leveling leaderboard though too, even if it is like something that fills up in a day, right? Like I feel like even in Diablo 3, right? First to 70 leaderboard would still be fun to see, and again, feels like it should be easy.
Yeah, I think so. A lot of the things I've seen about it are like you mentioned conquests, and I think a lot of the disappointment that I see about like rushing for those objectives is that people were, I guess, maybe expecting conquests again, which is not what the gauntlet is. And
Right.
I definitely I'm fine with it not being like active like the first week because it gives you something else to focus on. Like I say first week, but they haven't said when it's going to turn on.
It would probably be a
It could be.
mid-season, like the mid-season update.
I hope that it doesn't take that long, honestly. Like I'd be fine with like 1 or 2 weeks, just so that
Yeah.
way it gives people the chance to go through, get to 100, start getting into, like the boss ladder
build your power.
loops. Yeah,
Yep.
that you've got your build online, you're all set, and you're ready to go through, and I've got my character built, I'm ready to test it.
Yep.
I don't need to wait. Even me being rather casual, I don't need to wait 3 weeks to have like my build online.
Or a month. It'll probably be a month and a half.
Yeah,
6 weeks. Because 3-month season.
Yeah, because I think that's just that's a little bit too long for it to matter. That would be
Sure.
like it'd be like one of those ones. Yeah, that'd probably be like the Avatar of Zir that would pull me back a month and a half in order to go through playing.
But for how long?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
I think
I-
I we're gonna get better. So I think like in looking at it though, like there is that excitement of maybe not even a 1 to 100 leaderboard, but have them right there at the start so you can start seeing people's names start slowly creep in to the gauntlet, right? Like that would give me a little bit of motivation, like, oh man, I gotta pick it up because I'm not even ready to get there. And yeah, maybe I did miss the first week and I missed the second week, but now I need to get there on the third. And even if it's kind of crappy, I know there's competitions that's got 2 weeks and I want to get to week 4, week 5.
Right.
I could see it working in the opposite direction of like, I've been waiting for this for too long. Or as opposed to like it's a go and hey, week 1 there was like 2 people on it. Only 2 people made it. Um, what's week 2 gonna look like? What's week 3? And then you get like a whole season to judge that progression. Like, but again, it's the first season. It's the first season that we're seeing this. There's going to be tweaks, but for me, it would be more exciting to see it go live right away.
Yeah, I still think for me, I think having it like the first week would be detrimental, like for my play experience. I wouldn't want to have to worry about going through getting the character up, getting it geared, trying to farm hell tides, get into the boss ladder, all other type of stuff, and then also having to spend a dedicated amount of time having to learn the map and like the playthrough, the style, and all of that other type of stuff. Like I'm fine with having the preliminary. Give me my trial run, give me that week, and then actually start the competition like the week afterwards. Because then at that point, because then at that, it's always going to be the person that has the most time to play the game.
Yeah.
But like if you go through and you do it at that point, then it's like, well, it's like what's even the point, you know, at that, because now I'm not even starting the race like that first week, let
Yeah.
alone actually being able to compete. Like even though I know I'm never going to be able to compete, you're not going to see my name on those leaderboards.
Right.
But it's at the same time I'm still going to do it. There's still rewards that you can get out of it without being in the actual leaderboard. You can get your, what is it, it's the medal of
Seal of the worthy, or
seal of
whatever.
the worthy, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
There's stuff that you can go through and still like get out of it, and like the question would be is like, can I do that in the first week, especially like, you know again, I know why they do like the Tuesday seasonal launches.
Why
It's
do they? Because I hate it. I want to
it's
die.
for like the developers and workloads and the weekend and all those type of stuff. I get it. I'm fine with it. I'm cool. Fucking sucks. We're
It's
long enough. We're
awful.
long enough. We're long enough into the video. We're not gonna be hit by the I can swear now for the algorithm, right? Just it fucking sucks. Like Wednesday, if you can't, if like you still can't do it on like a Thursday, like a Friday. I know Friday's out of the question. Thursday's pushing it a little bit too much. What about a Wednesday? Like even a
I guess
Wednesday would be better.
I didn't know those were problems, because like it's legitimately, it screws me up bad. Like I
Yeah.
can't like I can't commit. I mean, like I'll just have to play it in the evenings, which is fine, and I definitely plan to, and I plan to like play every evening during the week. But
Yeah.
like I really like it on a Friday. I get off work, right? It starts up around 7 in my time, at least 7, 7 Central Time. So I can like kind of come home from work, unwind, right? Get the whatever, and then I could just like fucking grind
Yeah.
like all weekend if I want to. And then if I take like a Monday, Tuesday off, I'll get an extended weekend, right? Or I could take the whole next week off if I want to. But like, we didn't get the information ahead of time enough to take this week off. So now it's just like season launches Tuesday at noon when I'm at work. And so I'll be playing every night between 6 to 10 until the weekend hits. And that sucks. Like, I would have liked to plan ahead of that. But,
Yeah.
it is
I,
what it is.
I definitely do get the development though. Like, hey, we're gonna go on Tuesday. If something is critically wrong, we've got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to kind of fix it. Because
Yep.
coming from Path of Exile leagues, which launch on Fridays, there have been some leagues where it has been almost unplayable,
For
or there's been some
days.
critical failures, right? And then they're on the weekend.
Yeah.
And it is a lot harder for that problem to really be fixed when they're like not operating at full capacity. Uh, so I don't hate the Tuesdays. I agree though, nerd words. Yeah, Friday is so ideal because it just works. You get the season can encompass the weekend. You're not going to have to go into work the next day and what have you. So it always does feel better. But we kind of go back to like, just general, like the real people there that are making the game. And if this makes their lives a little bit easier and they're able to then keep making a good game, I'll just suffer through it and play till midnight or 1 a.m. on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Um,
Which
and
which
then
yeah
I'll get
is,
up.
it's like one of those ones. It's basically what WoW does. WoW, everything always goes through like launches on a Tuesday and such. Patch day, all those other types of things. And I remember in years past requesting like a Tuesday through Friday off from work, just because a new raid drops or expansion or something like that. But
Yeah.
also in World of Warcraft though, you know, there's always a delay. So you'll have like the big like what 10.2, and it introduces a new raid zone, but the raid zone doesn't come out until like a week afterwards or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Like it has like those, it gives you the chance to experience the content, get familiar with any type of new mechanics and such, and then we get to put in like
Then the
the
PvP
raids
season starts,
stuff.
the Mythic
Yeah.
Plus season starts. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it gives you time to get acclimated in order to
Yep.
then start I've done the content and now I can do the challenge, and so I'm
Yep.
I'm fine. But like I said, there is of course even like a limit. It's like if it's going to come in a month and a half, that seems like a missed opportunity. If it comes in like a week, if it comes in like not next Tuesday but the Tuesday after that, like in February, the first week of February, like that'd be great. That'd be fine. I'd be cool with that. going 2 weeks in order to go through and have that start. Everything is still like high energy. We've got the builds online, and we're still going through and playing. So
Selfishly, I just want to see a bunch of hardcore players die quickly at the front end because they push too hard, and then I get to catch up. That's really the only reason I want it. Um, that's how I have a chance.
that's also how you jinx yourself into dying first.
Oh,
Right. I was just there. I was like, from the person who's
Mhm.
died more than anyone else I know.
Yeah, that's some
um,
bad juju there, man.
yeah, more than likely, I was able to get the Druid to 100 to 100 this last season. It'll be dead at like 52 in season 3 or something like that. But that's okay. That's what I signed up for every single time. But coming back to the gauntlet, whether it's week 1, week 3, week 6, I am excited for this. Again, more new content, a different way to play, a different way to challenge. I love the way that they've addressed fishing and that it is not going to be a thing. That you're not going to have to continuously go in and out and try and find the best situation for shrines and all that kind of stuff. And it's going to be static. Um, and
This
the fact,
this is what I wanted challenge rifts to be the entire time. Honestly, this was something that like Leviathan and I had talked about on the West March Workshop years ago, like probably like damn near like 6, 7, 8 years ago, something along those lines. Was just like it would be cool if you actually had like because we were envisioning what like esports would look like in an ARPG or Diablo game, and it'd be like
Yeah.
it would be a greater rift that's custom, like handmade, in order so that way it's always the same, in order to go through and actually like gauge like skill and how you could go through and do how you could increase like your clear times. But then because the next step beyond that is then like adding in mechanics beyond just like killing monsters and filling like a gauge, or opening the chests and collecting points and stuff like that, actually having things that you have to interact with to make it like a team event, stuff like that. So this is definitely beginning to the seeing something that I have envisioned in the game for almost a decade. So that's really cool. Can't wait to see how it comes out.
Yeah, when
I,
it's akin to systems like the Mythic Plus system in WoW,
Yeah.
where it's a dungeon that everyone can go do, or was it, I think, strikes in Destiny as well.
Yeah.
Just those kind of like dungeon content that is static, but it rotates, so it's different and fresh, every so often. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm excited. I'm gonna try it out for sure. We'll see how it goes. Definitely gonna try to push it. I don't know how much I'll be able to compete, but I'm gonna try. We'll see.
I did really enjoy the quick view that we did get of it as well, like shaking things up of like a
Looked
dungeon
cool.
boss right at the start. And
Yeah.
then what I really liked, and they're talking about like, hey, here's a new shrine and it's going to resurrect everything. And then they obviously click it and it resurrected the boss.
Yeah.
And it's just like there's a lot of layers there that I think it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, the top end players developing those strategies of like, oh no, we want that boss. We're going to kill him, but drag him close, and then we're going to resurrect him and drag him around. And like,
Or
it's a
4-man group,
it's a
everyone run
new
to different
version.
corners and pull all the bosses to the center of the room, and
Yeah.
then let's kill them, and then let's respawn them, and let's kill them again, and yeah, uh, who knows how it's going to play out, but it seems interesting. So excited.
Um, okay, so as we're getting here close to the end, I think is there something in D4 right now that you want to see happen? And we know mid-season there might be something um that doesn't exist that you would like to see.
I campaign for it every single time I'm on 2v2 or 3v3 arena. I so badly want that, or 4v4 even, like 4-man groups. Okay, cool, do 4v4 arena, whatever. I really want like 4 people on this side, 4 people on this side. You have some terrain that you could LOS around. Otherwise, fight. Last one standing wins. That sounds like so much fun to me. No PVE like stuff mixed in. Just murder each other, and then whoever, like, make it like a Mortal Kombat ladder. that you play a team, you beat them, you go to another team, beat them, you go to another team, and then if you beat them, you get like crazy good loot or something, right? I don't know. You could have some fun with that for real. But I would absolutely love that. I don't know how much of a demand there is for that, but PvP in Diablo 4, I've enjoyed a lot. I enjoyed it a lot in Diablo Immortal. I love PvP content, and I want more of it. That's it.
Well,
There's a giant blank zone in Hawazar that is Ura. I want to go there. Yeah.
looking like a true lore man. For myself, I would just love a way to notice on my friends list who is playing hardcore. I have no way.
Didn't
Yours
they?
is so much simpler than ours.
Didn't they add in a little modifier now that you can see people that are hardcore? A little skull.
I have not noticed that. I would like a more clear way if that's the case, because as I look at my friends list, I have no idea. And
Well,
maybe that's the sign that none of
we-
my friends are playing hardcore.
Oh yeah, maybe no one's playing hardcore.
we forgot one of the biggest changes. They're adding in new emblems.
Yes, we
Oh
do
yeah.
get new emblems.
And if you don't know what
Um,
that is, don't worry. No one else does.
it's not a big deal. But this is a good time to bring up at the end of the episode that we are a Diablo partner. So if you are listening and you've got an answer to that question, uh, give us a post on the YouTube, on PureDiablo.com, and let us know what you would like to see. And part of that partnership is we can take some of that information and share it, and maybe something happens. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know how important we really are in the scope of things, but maybe. And that's the fun part of this. So if you got an answer to that question, let us know. Sound off in the comments, and head on over to Apple Podcasts, and if you want, leave a kind review or a negative one. Um, you're free. I'm not gonna tell you what to do, but if you want to do that, that'd be cool too. Outside of that, I think we should close the show as we always do with a moo moo moo.
Moo 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 moo.
Moo.